All right. Hey, everybody. What's up? It's your girl Fluffy, and I'm back with another episode of Worries and Wine. And as y'all can see today, I got cousin Rhonda. Yes. If y'all don't know who she is, please, I beg of you, as soon as you're done with this video, go and check her out. Rhonda, tell them the information for your channel.
The name of my channel is Rhondas Red Sauce. That's where you can find me here on YouTube, and I should pop right up.
Yes. I mean, came out of nowhere and just blew everybody out the water. Like, hey, y'all, I'm here. So with that being said, today we are going to talk to Rhonda about some of the adversities that she experiences as being a mukbanger. But before we get started, I want to let you guys know that, of course, it wouldn't be a Worries and Wine if I didn't have my wine. So today I have the Stella Rosa watermelon, which goes great with like a cheese, spicy foods, desserts. It's like an overall, it's a good flavor. It's sweet. I like sweet stuff. So y'all know something that sparkles. And Rhonda, what do you have over there?
I got some Apothic Red. This is a winemaker blend. This is one of my favorite wines. You know, I started off as a sweet wine drinker, and then I transitioned into more like bitter wines, you know, bitter notes inside of it. So I love this one. I'm a big fan of Cab. I like Shiraz type wine. You know, that's my vibe. And I would say this pairs really well with, I would say, fish, steak, lamb, duck. It'll probably pair well with.
That's the dinner wine right there. Okay.
Exactly. So, and this is also to me, this is a really good bottle of wine. If you want to just give somebody some wine, you're not sure what they drink, I feel like this is a good place to go. So
it's a starting point. It's a great starting point.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thank you for that. So there you guys, y'all got two this week. Okay. So now I gotta get that, because that bottle, first off, the bottle looks sexy.
It is. Right. That's what caught my attention.
Like Apothic Red. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. You bust that out. That's a Valentine's Day bottle.
Right.
All right, you guys. So make sure you guys go check these wines out that we have recommended to you. And let's just go ahead and get started. So make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget that part, okay? So today we're going to be talking about the adversities of what it is to be a mukbanger in the YouTube community. And I'm going to tell y'all, I tried it. I did, and it just wasn't for me. And it's because I don't eat a lot. And one of the things I see is that there's like this idea of a spread. There's so much food on camera. I don't understand because I feel like I need to eat everything on my plate. I was taught, you know, as a youngster, eat everything on your plate. So if I spread myself with all this food, I got to eat all this food. I'm like, I'm already fluffy. So how do you deal with that, Rhonda? How does that work for you? Let's talk about that.
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that worked for me was that when I first started, I mean, of course, I think the appeal is the amount of food that's on the plate. It's the appeal. So, you know, you can't just show up with like a wing and a little side. That's not
right.
So you have to have these amounts of food. And that also, I think, just makes it really engaging and inviting. I started to just be really conscious of my food. And I think that I'm known for storytelling. So I think that storytelling, because I will be talking so much, slowed me down from eating as much food. But then I also made a conscious effort to really just start eating healthier food. That's kind of I was like, you know, if I'm gonna be having these big amounts of food, I need to start eating more healthier options. So that's more what I decided to do to kind of help me. Now, even with that, I mean, even because something is healthy doesn't mean I need to overconsume on it. So I've definitely had moments, even though the food was plant-based or whatever the meal was, still being extremely, extremely full afterwards. But also what I noticed too, because I talk so much on my channel as well, I'm taking in a lot of air while I'm talking. So that actually makes you a lot fuller too.
Yeah. So, but see, did you realize that at first? So let's talk about like when you first started. How did you say, okay, look, I want to get into this. I want to start eating food. Like, where was the starting point for you in this whole journey?
Okay, so my cousin Steph and Tasha, I had been on their channel. Shout out to Steph and Tasha. I've been on their channel a few times. You know, I knew what it was to have a mukbang channel and what it required. I saw the work and time it took. Now, obviously, I'm not with them every day, but I could see it was a lot of work. Right. What led me to do it was that, honestly, I was going through therapy. I was going through a bout of depression, and my therapist told me to try something different. So I decided to do that, you know, and that's what made me go for it. It seemed like, okay, I'm gonna be eating anyway. So, okay, I'm just gonna put a camera.
I'll go do it on camera.
Yeah, and just see what happens. So that's kind of how it started. I didn't have any expectations, and I kind of just jumped into it, and that was it.
Okay, so when you jumped into it, and when it comes down to it, you have to plan these meals. I see a lot of people doing mukbangs with them going like out to eat, eating fast foods. Was that ever an issue for you? Like, okay, if I don't feel like cooking, let me go grab something, you know, because I see people with like the Chick-fil-A, the Popeyes, you know, and so now it feels like because you have a channel and, you know, we all know to be successful on YouTube, there's a level of consistency. Yeah. So you kind of have to have like at least minimum 2 videos popping out of your channel at least a week, right?
Yeah, I would say 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yes. So if you don't have time to cook and now you're going out and you're eating all these fast food restaurants, how did you finally say like, look, I need to be more health conscious? Because did you find yourself at one point doing that? Like, I'm eating out a lot more because I'm trying to do these mukbangs. I'm spending more money. Did you ever go through that?
So what I realized for me quickly was that I am an Aquarius through and through. And I'm going to say, I preface that because I don't like to do what everybody else is doing. Just naturally, I don't. You know, because what happens is when I start doing what everybody else is doing, I lose interest in what it is that I'm doing.
Right.
You know? So
it's repetitive at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking anybody's the food that they're eating. You know what I'm saying? But also, besides me being an Aquarius, I like to just venture off. Like, ooh, let me try it. No, that's me. That's just me naturally. Anything that I do. And besides that, I was doing the eating out and grabbing this and grabbing that, and that bill was getting was adding up real quick. And I'm like, I can't maintain this. And I had just started doing YouTube. I wasn't even monetized at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even offsetting this cost. You know what I'm saying? And again, let's say I'm going to McDonald's, I'm not going to get just 1 fish fillet. I'm going to get 3. I'm going to get probably 2 or 3 fries just so it look appealing when I put it together. Right. So I'm not, you know, you're spending these amounts of food. And I was like, and I didn't feel good afterwards. Then that's when I started cooking more. I started cooking. So I would work my regular job at the time, get off work, get home about 6, be done cooking about 9. I'm start filming at 10, done editing by like 12. Video don't upload till 3. You know what I'm saying? Right. Video come out at 5 and I got to get up and go to work again. So it was tough. But in the beginning, I had my consistency was out of this world when I first started.
But it was like trying to find and make time, right?
Yeah, but it was something that was an outlet that was fulfilling for me, so it was easy to be consistent. I had to scale back on eating out. I couldn't do it, you know. And even you know, once the pandemic happened, I started cooking even more because I was scared to eat out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You gotta handle my food.
So I actually became even better in the kitchen during, you know, quarantine.
Yes, I have seen some of the pictures. If y'all do not follow Rhonda on Instagram, please take the moment and I'm gonna say pause this video and go look at her page and look what she be. Y'all, when I say I be like, let me get off the page. Let me get off. I'm gonna gain 10 pounds looking at your page. Okay, y'all. Rhonda looks like she is a professional chef. She be having it like her. Y'all, if y'all haven't seen her spread, y'all, let me tell y'all. It looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous. Like she really captures how the food looks and it makes you want it. It looks almost like a professional took the picture and everything. Like, I don't know who set it up. I don't know. Rhonda got like these minions or something it looks professional. Like, it's like you came out the jump and it's just like, we can see the differences from your channel to others because others sometimes will talk about their daily lives in the mukbangs. You actually get real personal with your mukbang. So how did you start to say, okay, I'm going to do mukbangs, but I'm going to start storytelling? How did that happen?
So, even prior to doing mukbangs, I'm a filmmaker. So I'm a filmmaker first, right? And I never saw me kind of getting into the mukbang and the foodie part of things, right? It just kind of happened. But I remember one night I was live and I remember Steph was in the comments and she was like, you should do a story time about, you know, your relationships. And I was like, okay, you know, it was a good suggestion. That's how it started. But I'll tell you is that it was exactly what I needed because even though I was a filmmaker, I kind of struggled with my storytelling. You know, my storytelling kind of had some holes in it. You know, I had work I had to do. And little did I know that YouTube has actually helped me become an exceptional storyteller. You know, because once I started talking about my relationships, I started talking about every part of my life, you know, which really became therapeutic about me releasing and talking about the things I've gone through and hopefully helping other people realize they're not alone with the stuff that they've gone through, decisions that they've made, relationships they've been a part of. A lot of stuff. Circle. Yeah.
You've had a lot of series that, I mean, and I would hate when you would tell a story and then it was like, okay, so y'all got to wait till the next episode. And I'm like, I don't even know what happened to Kayla right now.
Everybody mad at me right now. I just did a fiction story series about a side chick story I did. And everybody like, for real, Rhonda, you gonna do us like that? And I'm like, I'll be back. So that's something I gotta work on too. I'm gonna record today and finish that fiction series. So yeah, I've been having a great time and really, really, nurturing my craft. And didn't even realize I was doing it. Honestly, it just was one of those things. But it's been a really good experience, being able to get that real time reaction of like if people like it, what they like, and all that kind of stuff too. So yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that at one point you were going to work, right when COVID hit, and then you said, okay, I'm filming, I'm putting all these hours into it, but now you are a full-time YouTuber.
Yep.
Right. So how did you make that where you're like, okay, look, I want to do this for real. I want to see the return and make that decision? Because that's a major life decision to say, I'm going to stop my corporate regular day job to, I want to do this and I want to succeed in it and I want to fulfill it. And how did you make that decision?
You know what? I didn't think this is not something that I thought I was going to be doing full time, honestly. Even though things took off very quickly in the beginning. I was working at a job where I was making the most money. I went through this 6-month hiring process. I didn't see me leaving that job like that, though I enjoyed YouTube a lot. I enjoyed what was happening. I enjoyed the family nights. I enjoyed going live and stuff like that. But then, honestly, one day God just asked me if I was ready, and, being a woman of God, and I was like at a place where I was strengthening my relationship with God. I had talked about having faith and wanting increased faith, and it was time for me to now exercise that faith. When God asked, I said yes. And honestly, I just left my job. I just walked away. I didn't even have a plan. I'm telling you,
yeah, I remember. I mean, we've been friends for quite some time. So I remember it. And I was just like, so you sure you want to do this? I'm going to back you up with it for sure. I'm going to make sure you get your money. I'm going to help watch these videos.
And here's the thing too, YouTube is a gamble. There are no guarantees about how your videos are going to perform. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. It's not that I can guarantee. My money fluctuates every single month. You know what I'm saying? But I also realize too that, when you understand how much money you are not making, I think that it also put me in a position of becoming more of an entrepreneur and figuring out ways to make more money and how to monetize off of things. Because if you're making X amount of dollars and it may not be what you want, or if it is or not, or however, whatever's working for you. I think that YouTube really helped me understand the entrepreneurial side of things. Because I'm also not a person that wants to sit around and wait for things to happen,
Right. You got to make it happen.
Yeah, you got to make it happen. Exactly. So, I walked away from my job. I moved back home. I'm still with my parents. And that's one of the best decisions that I've made. Honestly, it's been very fruitful. It's allowed me to, start another business, start my seasoning company. It's allowed me to try different things, because I'm obviously not paying as much money as I would if I was living on my own. Right. So I'm really able to just sit back and nurture.
Really enjoy life too.
Absolutely, because I'm not tied down to anything. So even if an opportunity came to me that required me to be somewhere for 6 months, I could go easily, which I love that actually.
So Rhonda, one of the adversities that I could see with this is, I know you said you moved back in with your parents, right? Yep. How did your parents feel about you saying, I am going to quit my day job and I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to have my income? How did your parents feel about that?
My mom was really supportive about it because my mom is an entrepreneur, so my mom, worked for years in banking. I'm gonna say my mom worked in banking for 35, 40 years. She was retired. But she started a plus size boutique. So I think that she understood where I was coming from an entrepreneurial standpoint. And then my dad, not so much. My dad was just kind of like, you spent all that time interviewing Rhonda for that job. You're making really good money. Are you sure? Just as a parent would be.
As a concerned parent.
Yeah. And it wasn't that he wasn't supportive. It was just are you sure? You know what I'm saying?
Right. But you sure? You want to get it up.
But see, at that point, it wasn't like I talked to my parents before I left my job. I had already given my notice. I didn't talk to nobody about it. I just gave the notice. You know what I'm saying?
So you really woke up and was like, I've talked to God and I'm going to roll out on my faith.
That's it. God talked to me Thursday. It was December 10th. No, December 5th. God talked to me on December 5th. That was a Thursday, I think. This was 3:00 in the afternoon. I was on my last break at work. I was in a break room by myself. He talked to me Thursday, 3 p.m. and I had wrote the 2-week notice the next day. So I didn't talk to nobody.
Wow. Okay. So it was just I feel it. I've spoken to God about it. I'm putting it in his hands and I'm gunning for it.
And that's it. And that's literally how it worked. And I'm not that kind of person to just up and do something like that. As much as I didn't want to be in corporate America, I still have always had a job. I've always worked since I was like 14, 15 years old. So I stayed with a job. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, at least I won't be homeless. No matter what happens with the money, my parents will let me live at home. I know that for sure. I knew my parents would let me live at home.
Open arms, like, yes, come back. Come on. Come back.
So I felt like, okay, as long as I got a place to live, I can figure everything else out. That was it. So
wow. Okay. So you really just was like, look, this is it. I'm going out on faith. And you know what? And that's so respectable, because you truly have to have a certain amount of faith in yourself to know that what you're doing is at once a hobby is now a career.
Yeah.
And I'm not calling it a job. I'm literally saying this is a career path. YouTube is a career path for some people.
Absolutely.
And I feel like you've come in and you've mastered it. Like, I've watched you grow. Like, I remember being like one of the like first like 1,000 people that had like subscribed to your channel, and like Rhonda's got a channel, you know? So now with that being said, do you regret any of it? Do you have any regrets?
No, not one. Honestly, you know, once I left, like, having to really believe in yourself and believe in God like that really just requires you to tap into something that maybe you've never felt before or whatever. But I don't regret it, because you know what? So many things have come out of it. Like, I've had to depend on myself in ways I've never even imagined.
And hold accountability.
Absolutely. I've had to make changes on my channel. I had to deal with the pandemic. You know, during the pandemic, I transitioned from like kind of doing as many uploads to going live more often, because I felt like I needed it, in the community that, you know, it's a part of my channel. They needed it too. Like, we all needed an outlet, because we were
we were at home.
We were scared. We didn't understand what was happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Life had changed and we didn't know what to do. So I was like, cool, let's go live. Let's play games. Let's talk. Let's whatever. Because we all had started to become so consumed with COVID, whatever this thing was. You know?
Right. It was like this whole pandemic. Everybody is in a frenzy. Everybody is frantic. People are afraid to go out.
Exactly.
And then there are some people who are fearless and they're going out, and you're like, you're not wearing a mask. You're not wearing
right. So I'm saying, so no, I don't have any regrets, because I've had a chance to really, I've gone through a healing process where in all of this, where I've had the time to work on myself, take the time to work on myself. Like, I've never invested this type of time in myself before in my life. So much of my life was about everybody else. And I didn't realize that until it was just about me. You know what I'm saying? So it's been YouTube. It's been, I get to see my parents every single day, which is a blessing, you know?
Yes.
I was working.
You only have Saturday and Sunday off, and God forbid you have other things you need to do. You might not see them for a while.
I couldn't even see my parents like that, because like you said, I'm recording on the weekends. I'm trying to meal prep for the week. I'm trying to do laundry. Like, I couldn't even see my parents. So seeing my parents every day, I tell you what, this is called wine and worries. I used to be a very worrisome person. I can't tell you the last time that I was stressed and overwhelmed by worry. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm in such a good place mentally.
I was just about to ask you about that. So being a mukbanger and coming in and saying, okay, this is what I do. Has the food played with the mental part of it? Like, there's a mental psyche that you have to go through with anything that you do, because we've already told our guests here today that everything we do, it takes time. We have to edit. You have to be, so not only are you the person behind the screen, you're the chef.
Yeah.
You know, then you have to prep it. Then you have to cook it. Then you have to put it on your plate nice and neat and pretty. Then you have to finally, before you can eat, sit down and say, okay, is everything here? Get the camera set up. Then film. Then edit. Then put it out. Then promote. And then do it all over again. Has that played with your mental psyche? Like, do you ever feel like, oh my gosh, you know, it's a lot that goes into it? Do you feel like sometimes you just walk away and take a break?
I mean, I take breaks as needed, you know, that's something I'm better at. But at the same time, too, I'd much rather be spending my time doing that than working at a company where I'm completely unhappy or not valued, honestly, you know. So I'd rather spend that, you know, I might only film a 20-minute video, but it took 8 hours to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What I'm doing and filming and the way that things are kind of, you know, formatted. So, and I say 8 hours, and that's the prep, that's the filming, that's the editing, the social media part of it as well. You know, I have to now prepare for Instagram, responding to comments, because I'm a real big person on engagement. So I respond to most of my comments as best as I can. So yeah, 8 hours are dedicated just to one video, you know, and that's an 8 hour day that I would have spent in the office being unhappy. if I got to wait or two, I would do this time and time again, honestly. You know.
Okay, so you would do it all over again. So if you had the chance to say, let me relive the last, let's say 2 years.
Yeah.
Would you change anything?
Nope, there's nothing I would have changed. Everything happened the way that it was supposed to, you know, like all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the deep, I was having a bouts with depression and anxiety because of the jobs that I was working, the way that I was being talked to. I feel like I was being you know, bullied at work, like just different things that were happening. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like my work environment. I went through a injury where I was disabled at one point with my Achilles. But my disability empowered me to be off work, to do some other stuff. Like everything, when you think about timing and divine timing and faith and all of that kind of stuff, everything happens exactly the way that it's supposed to, even when we don't understand it. And that's what going through this journey has showed me. Like literally me messing up my foot had to happen in order for me
to get here.
In order for me to get here. It played a big part in me even being here. And, you know, I had to deal with that. I mean, yeah, there was some depression that came out of that because I wasn't mobile. I had to depend on other people. I couldn't drive. You know what I'm saying? But
right. So it's like all of a sudden your independence was kind of taken from you.
It was, but at the same time, it was a very key part of me getting here, you know? So yeah.
So Rhonda, before we close it out, I do want to ask you to go ahead and explain how you got the name Rhondas Red Sauce. It's such a catchy, it's so cute. I love it. And it's just like,
I'll tell you, one day I was sitting in my cubicle, like I was telling Steph, I was texting Steph back and forth. You know, she was like she was really, you know, instrumental in like me getting started and having the confidence to feel like I could do it because I had someone that I could talk to, you know, and that was already doing it. And I was just bouncing names, you know, around or whatever. And nothing really stuck. You know what I'm saying? So finally I just said Rhonda's Red Sauce. I'm like, you know, I'm a fan of like sauce and hot sauce. And the sauces I usually like are red. So I'm like, okay, got a nice little ring to it.
Right.
And when I started, I remember Shan, shout out to Shan. Shan was like, Rhonda, like, don't forget the fact about the flavor that you add to everybody else's life that's around you. So yeah, Rhonda's Red Sauce, literally and figuratively. And I was
like this flavor that you come out and bring to everybody.
He was like, okay. I said, okay. I like that. So it had a nice ring to it. And I really do. I still love the name, you know?
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I love it.
The meaning behind it. Yeah. Yep.
Yes. So y'all make sure y'all go and check Rhonda out. When I say the series, her series will have you, I used to picture it in my head.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I love about your channel. And I will say, I think that the part of you storytelling, you know, you have become excellent at it. Because I remember Rhonda also had this thing where she was writing a short story. And she had us as fans reading and writing. And you could see the growth. You could just see the growth from the time that she first started with her channel to where she's at now. And then reading what she's writing, you know, and she's like, I'm going to turn this into a screenplay. And when I say it was like reading a book that like Sister Soldier or, you know, Terry Wood, somebody. So I put you up there.
But let me tell you this, though, is that I want to just say for anybody that might be here from the channel or whatever, familiar with it, I had a bi-weekly writing series called Stacks. And honestly, I kind of fell off once the pandemic happened. Like I just wasn't feeling that side of my creativity. But you will be happy to know is that I am back to revisiting Stacks. So I want to complete the things that I started. So yes. So that's just so you know, that's so see you didn't even know. I just wanted to share that with you. That
right, we're getting exclusive news right now.
Facts, yeah. So it'll be out soon.
Yes. So, and thank you for that. Thank you for letting us know, because if you guys haven't read it or got the chance to go and read it, go and subscribe so Rhonda can send it out to you, become part of her mailing list. Definitely. It's worth the read. It's a nice read. It's not hard. It's not like you know, it's just very easy, mellow. You can sit back with your wine, because that's what I was doing when I was reading. I'm like, oh, okay, flip the page. Come on. Which I greatly appreciate. So with that being said, you guys, we're going to go ahead and we are going to wrap this up. And I want to thank Rhonda for being able to come out with Worries and Wine. I couldn't wait to have you. We got to redo it, because I got to get one with us in person. Okay. Because I haven't seen Rhonda since it was right before the pandemic hit, right?
That's for my birthday. Yep. Last year.
Yeah. That was like, we had made plans. Like, we're going to get together. We're going to do something else. We're going to do something, you know, me and Rhonda had all these plans, and it was like the pandemic hit, and it was like, you, my dog, I love you, but you know, we understood what was going on. It was that you couldn't be around, you know, so that is the reason why I've also been doing some virtual and some in person. So those of you guys who have been kind of wondering what's going on with Worries and Wine and, you know, why it's making that transition is because I understand and I respect anybody's opinion with this whole COVID situation. I'm hoping that it's over soon. Truly. I'm hoping that it's over soon.
Y'all just be safe out there too. Y'all be safe.
Yes, everybody, please be safe. Wear your mask. Take your hand sanitizer, whatever you need, and stay safe, you guys. But Rhonda, again, thank you for coming on here and explaining some of those adversities that you have faced with doing the mukbangs. I truly appreciate you and your time.
Of course.
So y'all make sure y'all go check her out. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Y'all make sure to spam the comments because you know what, Worries and Wine is an amazing, amazing idea. I'm glad you came up with it. I'm glad you've been executing it.
Thank you.
Just keep on doing it because it's some good stuff. There's some great conversations that's coming out of this stuff.
Yes, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So we're gonna keep it going, but make sure y'all go check out another video or y'all go ahead to Rhonda's page. It don't matter. I'm just let's spread the wealth. That's it, and that's all.
Yes,
so
yes.
Don't forget, y'all, that it is okay to have your worries and wine.
Yes.
Cheers and have a good one, y'all. See y'all later.
Y'all take care.
Bye.
Peace.
Let me end the broadcast here.